Once more, welcome to all the people. This Sunday discourse. Just now, as you all meditating on the breath, the in breath and the out breath. So when we meditate on the breath, breath is always at the present moment, just the present breath. We don't observe the past breaths that have gone by. We cannot observe the future breaths that are going to come. We can only observe the breath that is just here. The present in breath and the present out breath. That's all. And then as it finishes, another new one arises. So every breath, just like this. So when we train like this, it's one of the objects of mental training. Breath is an object of mental training, and a very good one at that. Why? Because breath is very much the essence of our living. We live because we breathe. If we don't breathe, we die. Simple. We don't breathe, we die. And it doesn't end there. Our observation of the breath doesn't end there. It's not just the physical awareness of the in-breath and the out-breath. Something more than this. Breath has a deeper connection with our mind. As we breathe in and breathe out, thoughts arise in our mind. Different types of thoughts arise in our mind. Sometimes less, sometimes more. Not same, or sometimes for some people a lot of thoughts. For some people maybe a little. It depends. And as you keep doing, as you keep being aware here of the breath, knowing the breath, staying with the breath, then these thoughts reduce also. Over a period of time, these thoughts come down. Why? Because then we are trying to be aware at the present moment. Trying to be aware of at this present moment. Whatever we have, whatever wisdom we can generate is at this moment. We cannot generate wisdom. Wisdom is what? When we say wisdom, wisdom is direct knowing. Wisdom is direct knowing. Knowing things directly at this moment through our own experience. That is wisdom. Not taught by other people. It is not something that other people can teach us. Other people can teach us something about wisdom, but other people cannot make us wise. They can teach us. Okay, for example, the nature of the breath is to change. The nature of the breath is to change. Other people can tell us this. The breath keeps on changing, in breath, out breath, and then another in breath and another out breath, and then the pattern is different. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's long breath, sometimes it's short breath. People can tell us this much, that the breathing pattern is subject to change. The breath keeps on changing. Other people can tell us this much. But then other people cannot really make us wise till we see our own breath. Till we see our own breath, till we know this is really changing, we aren't wise people. This is wisdom. Knowing the things as they really are, right now, here and now. This is wisdom. Everything else is second-hand knowledge. So all the things that you have studied from childhood till now, in schools and colleges and universities and your courses and in other places and whatever you have learned, most of it may not be all of it, because some things you have experienced by yourself directly, but most of it is kind of second-hand knowledge. Other people tells it's like this, it's like that. So when we watch the breath, as our mind tends to become a little more peaceful, and then suddenly one thought arises. One thought or maybe a series of thoughts. It can be a one thought, it can be a series of thoughts. And then, if you are mindful enough, then you can see this. What can you see? That as these thoughts arise, as there is a lot of thoughts, that there are a lot of thoughts in the mind, the breathing pattern changes. From being peaceful and subtle, it becomes not so subtle, a little more gross, a little more faster, not so subtle, not so peaceful. So, depending on the state of our mind, the breathing pattern changes. So it's kind of an indicator, you could say. It's kind of an indicator. Breath is an indicator of our mind. Have you ever observed like this? Have you ever contemplated like this? Breath is always there. Breath was always there. Ever since we were born, breath was with us. It was not that the breath just came today. Now, it's not like this, no? It was always there with us, all the time. Ever since we were born, we are always breathing. In breath and out breath. In good situations, in bad situations, in happy moments or unhappy moments, we are always breathing. But did we really see it, how it is? When the mind is happy, how it is? When the mind is not happy, how it is? When the mind is light, how it is? When the mind is heavy, how it is? Did we? Most of us did not. That's why we never understood. Neither did we understand the nature of the breath, nor did we understand the nature of our mind. What is the nature of the mind? Same as the breath, to arise and fall, to change. The thoughts, the feelings, perceptions, and so-called so many mental emotions, some of them you like, some of them you don't like, some of them are pleasant, agreeable, some of them are unpleasant, disagreeable. All of it is like this, just like the in-breath and out-breath. Arise and fall, appear and then immediately disappear. That's with all our thoughts. There is not a single thought that you could point out and say, this is the one, this is the one that stayed with me. This is the one that did not change. This is the one that was always there, will always be there. There's no such thought. That such thought doesn't exist. Such feeling doesn't exist. Such mental emotions doesn't exist. So the thing is, this is what we know when we watch the breath clearly. When we watch our breath, knowing long breath as long breath, short breath as short breath, whatever it is. Subtle breath as subtle breath, which is gross breath as gross breath, knowing. Knowing the breath, we know the mind, at least a bit of it. At least a bit of it. Why do we need to know the mind? Why we need to know our minds? Simple. It is the mind that tells us to do things or not to do things. that tells us this is good, this is not good, this is what I need to get, this is what I should avoid. It's the mind that tells us all these things, right? Other people don't tell us. Other people tell us, but then ultimately who decides? I want this, I don't want this. Who decides? It's our mind. It's just right here within our mind that the decision is made. Just here. But then, if the decision is made correctly, for example, somebody who's drunk, somebody who's intoxicated. And when somebody is intoxicated, whatever decision that person takes, mostly it will turn out to be bad decisions, harmful decisions, wrong decisions, going to create trouble for him, right? Because that person doesn't know what he is doing. He has no real idea about his mind at that time. All his thoughts and emotions, there's no control over it. There's no understanding what is going to happen if I do this or if I don't do this. There's no idea. Person who's drunk, who's intoxicated. But then, if I say the same with all the people, most of the people rather, not all the people, but most of the people, he will say, I am not drunk, I'm not intoxicated. Yes, in physical sense, you are not. Absolutely not. But those who do not have any idea about their mind, they are also like intoxicated. Intoxicated with the feeling. What kind of feeling? Whatever arises in their minds, pleasant or unpleasant, we grasp, thinking this is real. The pleasant feelings are for real. Unpleasant feelings are for real. The emotions that we like are for real. The emotions that we do not like are for real. And then we act upon them. I will do this, I will not do this. I will go there, I will not go there. I will do such and such things, I will not do such and such things. And then, what is it all about? It's like those intoxicated people, like those drunk people who have no idea what they are thinking, who have no idea what it is all about, whether it is right or wrong, whether it is real or not real, whether it is going to stay or not going to stay, whether I can depend on this or I cannot depend on this. Just like this. So that's why people have suffering. That's why people have unsatisfactory feelings in big way or in small way, in one way or the other, all the people. That's why, because people are not aware of their minds. They have no idea what is it all about, what it does. Is it good or bad? How much good or how much bad? What is it? What does it do? What are the consequences of the actions of these things? There's no idea, real idea. So we are also kind of intoxicated people. Intoxicated with not knowing, ignorance, not knowing our mind. This is what we are intoxicated with. That's why people have unsatisfactoriness, in big way or small way. Show me one person, bring here one person who can say, I have no amount of unsatisfactoriness left. Neither big nor small. Because it's difficult to find such a person. Because they have to really know their mind. They have to be really wise, not to grasp at these feelings and perceptions and emotions as for I or me or for real. But we always do this. That's why we always have something or the other. Some way or the other, we are unsatisfied. Somebody has a job, they are not happy with the job. Somebody is having a family, they are not happy with their family. Somebody is having anything, name the car, they're not happy with their car. Somebody having a house, not happy with the house. Somebody having children, not happy with the children. Neither the children happy with the parents, nor the parents happy with their children. You see? Because both of all the parents and the children, both are intoxicated. The father, mother, and the son, daughter, all are intoxicated. How can they be happy? How can they be at ease? There's no way. So the practice begins just right here. So the practice begins just right here, watching the breath, knowing the nature of the breath, in breath and out breath. Whatever it is, we don't change anything. We don't change, we don't control the breath. Whatever is long breath is long breath. Whatever is short breath is short breath. Whatever is subtle is subtle. Whatever is gross is gross. Why do we not change things? Because, as I said earlier, it is an indicator of our mind. It's an indicator of our mind. So if we are trying to change something, we are not following the indicator. When you drive a car, you give the indicator left or right, and then you go to the other side, you may get into accidents. Similarly, the breath is giving indication about our mind, giving us signs. We don't follow those signs, you are going to get into mental accidents, which means making wrong decisions, going in the wrong direction. So that's why we don't change anything. We let things be as it is, whatever it is, and know it as it is. As we know it, we know the nature of our mind, just like the breath. The thoughts and feelings and perceptions, whatever comes, are not for real, not something that's going to stay with us, not something that will be dependable. So no need to take these things blindly. No need to take these things blindly. But we take everything blindly. People say, you are such an excellent person. We are puffed up. We have a lot of ego and pride. I am such an excellent person. Another day, another person comes and say, you are like a dog. We are infuriated. He told me a dog. I'm like a dog. How can I be a dog? See, in first case also, you didn't check whether I'm really such an excellent person or not. In second case also, you really didn't. Am I really a dog or not? I am not. Do you have a tail like a dog? You don't? Then you need not worry about it. So that's what the people's mind is all about. That's what they do all the time. That's what they do. Then they say, I have this dissatisfaction, I have that dissatisfaction, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with that. But isn't it simple? The way, as I said, if people were to be intoxicated, if people were to be drunk, the decisions that they make are not going to be good enough. Similarly, people have no real idea about their mind, the decisions they are going to make aren't really going to be satisfactory in any case. Simple. Is it a big deal? It is not. It's just like this. So our practice begins right here, knowing the breath. It's such a wonderful thing. As you keep your mind with the breath, make it an object of your meditation. Make it an object of your awareness. Wherever you are going to your work, you are sitting in the bus, you are going to, or in your vehicle, or you are sitting in your office, or sometimes you are walking, or sometimes you are doing something, some other work. You can always go back to your breath. Your breath isn't taken away by another person. Nobody is going to take away your breath. People say somebody took their breath, his or her breath away, but not really. They're still breathing. They wouldn't, if they took the breath away, then they are going to die. Nobody takes your breath away. Okay, so wherever you are, you can always go back to the breath. Sitting and standing and walking, always you can go back to your breath. Maybe just a couple of breaths, maybe just 5 or 10 of them, or for a minute, half a minute, or for a minute. Why? Because then when you connect to your breath, you connect to the awareness, you connect to the knowing of your body and mind. Breath is the body, physical existence. Our body survives on the breath, but then it also is connected with the mind. So connecting with the breath, you connect with the body and the mind. You know what is going on. You know what is going on is good or bad. So this is a wonderful place to begin with. This is a pleasant dwelling, the right kind of dwelling, a place to stay. Not a physical place to stay, but a mindful place to stay for our mind, but a wise place to stay for our mind. Because when you know the breath will not tell you lies. If it is long, short breath, short breath. It's subtle, subtle, it's gross, gross. Peaceful is peaceful, not peaceful is not peaceful. It's not going to tell you anything else. Peaceful breath will not appear as restlessness. It will not. It will always feel like a peaceful breath. What is gross breath will always appear as a gross breath. Subtle as subtle. So it's never going to misguide us. So you can use your breath. You can use your breath. This is just a basic introduction of the mindfulness of breathing, very basic introduction. But then you can always use our breath, mindfulness of breathing. This is a wonderful technique taught by Lord Buddha, and he himself practiced this before his enlightenment, and even after his enlightenment, lifelong, he practiced this mindfulness of breathing. And this is practiced, this is something everybody can practice. And this is something everybody can get benefit out of it. Knowing our breath, knowing our mind, knowing the truth. So this much we offer to you for your practice and contemplation. Use the breath, learn the breath, stay with the breath, and then you will know you will discover a lot of things. You'll discover a lot of things about our own lives. If you really stay with the breath, you can discover wonderful things, things that no teacher will tell you. But you can discover such things. So make it a habit to stay with the breath, to go back to the breath, just this natural breath. Be aware of the breath. Then your mind can find a very wonderful direction. With this, we will conclude today's discourse here. If anybody has any questions or doubts, then you may ask. The feelings are there, but they are not for real, means they aren't something, they have an essence. The feelings are there. We feel good, we feel bad, but they have no real essence in the sense that they are just like bubbles. They come and go. You can't really depend on them. You can't really hold on to them. You can't. They come and go. Simple. So in that sense, I said the feelings are not for real. Means they aren't, there's no essence in the feelings, in the thoughts, in the emotions. Not something that stays with us. Sukhe bhaveyane dukkha aham nichang aham viya pitacha me sukhe honto majjata tacha verino imani gamma kettam he satta honto sukhe sada tato parancha rajyesu Chakavale sujantano sadhu sadhu sadhu.